Too often, we find ourselves voting, but knowing little about the names or the issues that are on the ballot. But is this the way that it should be, or just the way that it's always been? Well, that's where we come in, community media. We reached out to the candidates of the May 24th election and asked them to spend a few minutes introducing themselves to the people of our communities. Here are the names, the faces, the voices, and the ideas of those who did. Thank you for joining us. You're watching Community Media. I'm Gabriel Andrews. I'm here with Mr. Butch Oliver, County Commissioner candidate for District 3. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Outstanding. How are you, Butch?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, like you said, my name's Butch Oliver. My wife's name's Debbie. My daughter's name is Brandy. Son-in-law is Brian. And my two grandsons are Braxton and Bowen. And we moved here to Meriwether County about almost 4 years ago from Henry County.
What were you doing in Henry County?
In Henry County, I retired from the county. I worked for the Board of Commissioners for almost 20 years. I worked for the city of McDonough for almost 3 years. And I owned a business called Oliver Environmental for about 10 years.
Oliver Environmental, what is that?
I did inspections on construction sites. I did what they call MPDS inspections, that's stormwater inspections. I did inspections to see how much silt, without getting too technical, silt that gets into the water off construction sites. The state and the federal government only allows a certain amount of silt to get into the water. So we do those tests to make sure that they're in compliance. If they're not in compliance, then we come up with a remedy and a solution to fix that to keep all the sediment on site.
Outstanding, outstanding. And so what has it been like for you and your family being here in Meriwether County?
It's been great. We looked around when we decided to move and we found this place here. We've met a lot of nice people in the county and it's quiet, as you can hear. It's really quiet. We've got the deer and the ducks and the fish, and it's just, it's very nice, very peaceful.
And so what inspired you to run for public office?
I worked for Meriwether County when we moved here. I worked as part-time 3 days a week in the building and zoning department. I worked as a consultant. I worked with all the departments with different ideas. They had questions, they'd come to me and I try to help them with different things. After about a year ago, the director of that department left, and so I became interim director. And then I left about 2 months ago to pursue this job as commissioner. And the reason is because I've seen the things that needs to be done in this county. Nothing against the commissioners on the board now or past commissioners. They've all done a great job. But being as I've been called an outsider, I've only been here 4 years. I didn't grow up here. The only family I have lives on this 47 acres. And I see the things that I saw Henry County did that was correct, and I've seen the things that they did wrong. And we've got growth all the way around this county, from Coweta, Talbot, Pike, all the counties surrounding us, and it's coming here. I've seen that in the past 3 years working at Meriwether County. And so I would like to take my experience, my knowledge, take it to the Board of Commissioners and help this county grow in the right way.
So it sounds like you've got a pretty extensive amount of experience in the role of maybe working with the Commissioners Board and working with city officials.
Yes, sir, I do. With Henry County, I was there, like I said, almost 20 years. I held just about every position you could hold except for commissioner. I worked as director of building and zoning. I've worked as inspector. I did plan review coordinating. I worked with public works. I worked in the zoning department. I did code enforcement. I worked over there. I actually worked really close with the dog kennels. I was director of stormwater. I worked in SPLOST. I did roads and construction for the county. I put in all the utilities, red lights, power, storm. There's nothing I haven't done. And I also was assistant to the Board of Commissioners for a year.
So for those of our viewers who may not fully understand what that role looks like, what is the actual role of the commissioner?
If you look the definition up of what a commissioner is supposed to do. It is their job to make sure that they protect, they make sure the well-being of the citizens of that county. Now that is a huge task, and it's one that nobody should take lightly. I will not take it lightly. I've seen growth, and I've seen it in the wrong way. I've worked for many, many commissioners. I've worked for city council people, and I know the role that it's supposed to be. You have a very distinct role as being a commissioner, and you should respect that position. You should hold your head high, and you should have integrity as being a commissioner of the county.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So what do you think it is that uniquely qualifies you for that role?
What I think qualifies me are the 30 plus years of experience. Like I said, I've worked for counties, I've worked for cities, I've developed, I've built houses, I've worked with environmental, I've worked with state EPD, which is Environmental Protection Division. I worked for EPA, which is Environmental Protection Agency, which is a federal agency. I worked for I worked with the Corps of Engineers. I've worked with hundreds of engineers, builders, developers. If you go to Henry County and look, there's probably 2,000 or 3,000 sets of permits and plans that I have signed off on. We used to issue back in the day, Henry County was #1 in the United States for about 5 to 6 years. Most permits issued. We were issuing over 15,000 single family permits a year and about that many commercial industrial permits a year. So I've seen it all. There's nothing I haven't seen. And the year that I worked as assistant to the Board of Commissioners, I worked for all the commissioners and the chairman. And I did all the things that they didn't have time to do. Now, I can't go into all that, but it was quite a bit. It was just like being a commissioner. So my experience in all those fields, I worked for when we moved here, I worked for a national home builder. I developed for them. I put lots on the ground, pad ready for them to build homes on. I had 43 active commercial subdivision lots going. I had over $70,000 worth of budgets that I had to keep up with. $70 million worth of budgets. So I'm very familiar with budgets. I had more budget amount at that company than Meriwether County's budget. So budgets, operation of the government, that's not a stranger to me. I can go in day one and start working as a county commissioner, where you can ask any old commissioner that it is a training process. If you don't know, it takes you approximately 2 years to understand how to operate and run a county government. I've been there, I've done it, and I can go in, like I said, day one and start helping this county.
And so that experience, how does that practically translate to governance in the county? What would you like to see happen should you be elected?
There's several things I'd like to see happen. One is the growth in this county is on the north side. It's coming out of Coweta County, and everybody knows that. We need water. We need water on that end of the county badly. So that's one of the things we need to do. We need to work with the cities on that side of the county. We need to work with the state. We need to get some money, and we need to get water on the north end of the county. We need recreation for our kids. There is no recreation in this county for kids. We need recreation. Kids have got to be kids. They got to grow up playing baseball, soccer, all the things that they need to do to mold them to be good adults when they get our age.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the citizens of the county, people who will view this video?
Yes. I would like to be your commissioner and bring all the experience that I've gained over the 30 past years. I have 2 opponents that are running against me for District 3. They are fantastic people. I'm not going to say anything bad. They are great people. I know both of them. But they don't have the experience I have. They're going to have to take at least the first year to 2 years to figure out what they're doing and how to run the government in the county. I can go in day one with all my experience, and I can start right then and go to the Capitol. I've been to the Capitol. I used to work with the Greater Atlanta Home Builders when I was in Henry County. I was on the Henry County Quality Growth Board for 10 years. I've been there. I've I've helped write legislation for Henry County and for the state of Georgia with the Greater Atlanta Home Builders. I know how to do it. So I'd appreciate your vote, and I'll work for you, not just District 3, but the entire county.
Outstanding. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Again, this is Community Media. Mr. Butch Oliver, County Commissioner candidate for District 3. If you haven't already registered to vote, you should. And hopefully, this will give you a face to put next to the name on the ballot.
One other thing, if you don't mind, Gabriel. Check me out on Butch Oliver for Commissioner District 3, Facebook.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.